Welcome to Studio Connect, a tool developed by Manipal Digital Systems. It is basically a tool wherein you can track the project you get from your clients, to know the status of the projects. It also helps in knowing how many files are existing, number of artists assigned to a particular job or a project, and most importantly, it helps in interactive proofing, wherein clients can interact directly with the QC lead and suggest certain changes or go ahead and directly approve the project. Now, this system has been evolved after years of interaction and feedback that we received from our clients as well as from our artists. Finally, it helps in smooth running of the entire process. To move along with Studio Connect, we'll first show you the dashboard, which is actually a team lead's view of the system. Here, the team lead can check each individual client's progress, the project's progress, status reports, and so on. Next, we'll go through the client's view of the Studio Connect. Here, we will come to know what all things the client will be able to track, how the client will be able to do the proofing, and if needed, how the client will be able to give the instructions and so on. And then we'll go ahead and discuss the usage of Studio Connect for your end clients. It can be used as a communication tool between you and your clients. It will help your clients to give instructions. It also helps to check the status report and also in proofing. Now, let's start Studio Connect by logging in. Now you can log into Studio Connect, just enter the ID and the password, machine name, shift, server, click OK. Now the screen, what you can see here is the dashboard. It's the team lead's view. It will contain a list of projects that you would have received from your client. The color coding at the bottom of the dashboard, which will indicate if the project has been downloaded, an artist is still working on it, it's completed, displayed to the client, rework, approved, or billed. Now every image that a client sends you will directly go to Studio Connect. Now, for each project, color coding is evident, and we can also assign priority to a particular project, like 3-star for highest of priority, 2-star, or 1-star. This will help the team lead or the artists to know that the project should be given highest of priority. At the right of priority, there is mail received button, where you will know what time you have received the mail and also if there is some job coming in. Right to it, it's the download time. Here we can see if the project has been downloaded, if we need to process the image faster. Because of the download time, the work will be delayed. We can also search the client from the drop-down list, which will give the list of projects. Now there is date from and date to option. You can also check the pending options. You can check that box and click on and see the pending jobs that are there. And you can also export it to Excel if you want a daily or a weekly reporting in a spreadsheet, which will have the list of columns will include mail received, delivery time, client's name, from whom the mail came from, whether it's downloaded or not. It also gives a list of total number of files received in each individual batch. Out of them, how many are done in progress and in QC. For example, a particular project, if you just go ahead and place the cursor on that, you can see the number of files received, number of files which are still in progress, which are under QC check, or which are completed. And you can also see the number of artists assigned to that particular project. The QC artists who are working on that particular project, and the number of artists who are currently working or have been assigned to that particular project. And besides the artist assigned, you can see the upload time. Here you'll have the indication whether the project has been completed. It'll show up in red, and if it shows up in blue, it'll indicate that it's still in progress. Now this is a team lead's dashboard. He can take an overview of the projects internally, and it can be used on a daily basis, which will help team leader to track the artist's efficiency, work done, and so on. Now to search for a particular project, you can search either with the project name, or you have the option to search from the date from which the project was received. Now you can just enter the project number, hit enter. You will see the details on the screen, the project name, when the mail was received, when it was downloaded, the total number of files you have received, the number of files completed, the number of files that are pending, the QC who is working on it, and the artists assigned to it. Now click on project name that you've entered, and you can see the list of files that you have received from the client. Over here, the color coding is pretty evident. As you see, the blue color indicates that the project is done. The red will indicate that it has been approved by the client. Now next to that, you can see the different versions that have been saved of a particular file. The top version, the number 1, as you can see over here, is the original file that you have received from the client, and the number 2, number 3 versions that have been saved internally by the production team as in when they are working on that particular file. Besides that, you can see the name of the file, and that is the latest version that the production team is working on, the format of that particular file, the QC who has worked on it. Then there is a pencil kind of thing which shows the proofing, in case if you want to check on the proofing, which I'll come to that part later on. And then there is the batch name, the file size, and the time taken to complete that particular image, the artist who has worked on that image, and the nature of the work, as in was it a color correction thing, masking, basic retouching, and the instruction. To check on the instruction, please go ahead and click on the question mark, as you can see over here. Once you click on the question mark, you can see the instructions, the detailed instructions that you have left for that particular artist, and the markup that you have received from the client. You can go ahead and download that markup. Now coming to the proofing part, as I've said, there are 2 ways of doing it. You can go ahead and click on the checkbox over here, and then click on the tab, that is the proofing tab. That's one way of doing it. Or you can directly go ahead and click on that pencil button. Once you click that, this is the page that will be displayed on your screen. This is where you can compare the different versions that you have already saved, like version 1, version 2, version 3. As you can see over here, you can also go ahead and leave notes as to what kind of corrections that needs to be done on particular image. Now let me just go ahead and explain the tools that you can see on the screen over here. The first one is the reload button. The second is the print option, wherein you can print the note that you would have left on that particular image. The next one is to minimize all the notes. Minimize or maximize the notes that you would have left. Next to it is the button where you can hide the notes for that particular image. As you can see over here, you can hide it. Next to that is the compare view, where you as I've already told you, you have saved different versions of the image. You can compare one image to the other, like version 1 to version 2. And you can see the changes that would have been done, the markups, the notes that you would have left, and you can see the artists who have worked on it and the changes that have been made on that particular image. Now coming to the tools options over here, when you click on the next button, which indicates that you can leave a note. The next one is to change the shapes of that particular note that you're leaving. Color, shape. The next button over here, the magnifying glass, if you click on it, you can zoom in or zoom out of the image. You can see the minutest corrections that you would have made. You can also make the necessary changes if you want to by dragging the mouse over here. And then on the right hand side of your screen, as you can see, you can roll your mouse. That is the navigator option that you get. You can roll over your mouse on the screen and see the corrections made. On the left hand side of your screen, you can see the note details, the note that you would have saved here. As you see, we have just saved a note, and that will come up on the left hand side. Now coming back to the versions part, as I've told you that you can save different versions over here. You can compare different versions, one version to the other. Version 1, version 2, version 3. Why we are doing this is in case if the client, when you send the file over to the client, and if he says that version 2 is the one that he wants to show it to his particular client, you can go ahead and work on that, and then the reworking part and the time is saved here. The reason why multiple versions are saved is because it helps us to go back to the previous versions if there is any requirement by the client to do so, which will in fact reduce time and will also help the artist to work from where he left off. It also helps to avoid multiple layers to be created on an image, since it will make the image heavy and slow for processing. Now we'll go back to the main panel. you can hit the QC tab. Besides the QC tab, it's the Artist tab. Once you click on that, you can see the list of the files that you are currently working on. You have the download option. You can hit the download option and download the file. And then there is an option where you can enable or disable the preview. Just click on that and the preview will be enabled. You can see the file that you were working on, different previews of the different files that you were working. Till now, what we saw is basically the artist's or the team lead's view of the entire project. Now what you're seeing on the screen here is the client's view. Here we can see all of the jobs given by the client and also the person from whom the mail has come from. Here client can see all the jobs listed out in the particular project along with the color coding to know the status of the project. You can click on that particular project, and when you expand that, you can see the list of the files that the particular client had given for any corrections, and the color coding will indicate that whether the file has been approved. Yellow states that it's still in progress, blue is done, and red is for approved. There is also an option for the client to preview the image because sometimes it may not be possible to remember the name or number of the image. And it also helps the client to list out the images which needs to be reviewed or worked upon. Now if the client wants to do any kind of proofing, all he needs to do is click on the pencil and he will be directed to the image. He can leave a note in case if he wants to make any changes to this particular image. As you can see, if he wants to remove that particular object, he can leave a note as to masking needs to be done. And once he saves the note, the production team can go ahead and view on the team leads view. As you can see here, the color changes, so that means that the client has left a note. You can select the different versions. As you see, the client had left a note on version 1. Once you select on version 1, you can see the note which the client had left, masking, the name of the client, the time when it was created and modified. Now once the production team has reviewed the note left by the client and has reworked on that particular image and uploaded it, the client can go ahead and change the status of that particular project or that particular file. As you see here, the color coding is pretty evident. Yellow indicates that the work is still in progress, and once it's completed and uploaded by the production team, it will change to blue. Once the client sees that the project has been completed, he can go ahead and change the status of that particular project. What he can do is check and then click on rework or approve, leaving an appropriate note as to why the project has been approved or reworked. Now as you can see here on the screen, you have both the views, the production view and the client view. The Studio Connect here is a link between the production team and the client. It is a simple system wherein the client gets the window of the production system, they can get into the production process and see at what stage the image is at, what is the status of that image, and pass on the information without having to wait for an image to be processed. He can also upload it at the vendor's end and download it at the client's end. It saves time in upload, download, and multiple reworks.